Jean Carroll claimed that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in the dressing room of a department store in the 1990s. She publicly made the accusation in 2019 when she published an excerpt from her memoir in New York Magazine. New York law generally has strict time limits on filing sexual assault claims, which had passed by the time Carroll came forward. However, Carroll's legal team took advantage of a new law called the Adult Survivors Act, passed in New York in 2022, which opened a one-year window for victims of sexual assault to file civil lawsuits regardless of when the incident occurred. In a civil case like this one, the plaintiff, Carroll, had to prove her claims by a preponderance of the evidence, meaning it was more likely than not that her allegations were true. This standard plays a crucial role in how the jury evaluated the evidence. Carroll provided detailed testimony about the alleged assault, describing the events at Bergdorf Goodman in the mid-1990s. Her emotional and vivid account of the encounter was central to the jury's deliberation. Carroll presented testimony from two friends, Lisa Birnbach and Carol Martin, whom she told about the alleged assault shortly after it happened. Both testified that Carroll had described the incident to them in the 1990s, confirming her story and countering the defense's argument that the accusations were fabricated for political or financial gain decades later. Carroll's legal team was permitted to introduce testimony from other women who had publicly accused Trump of sexual misconduct. These additional testimonies provided context and a pattern of behavior that could have influenced the jury. The jury may have found these accounts credible and relevant in assessing Carroll's claims. One key aspect of the case was Trump's public response after Carroll went public with her allegations in 2019.
He said, "Shame on those who make up false stories of assault to try to get publicity for themselves or sell a book."
No.
I'll say it with great respect. Number one, she's not my type. When you said that Ms. Carroll was not your type, you meant that she was not your type physically, right?
I saw her in a picture. I didn't know what she looked like. And I said it, and I say it with as much respect as I can, but she is not my type. I know who the woman, let's say, I don't know who, it's Marla.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla, yeah. That's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here.
The jury was tasked with determining whether these statements were defamatory, meaning they were false and damaged Carroll's reputation. Trump did not testify in his own defense, and the jury was allowed to consider this. The fact that he did not take the stand could have influenced the jury's perception of the strength of his defense. While Trump did not testify in person, his pretrial deposition was played for the jury. In the deposition, Trump repeated his denials of Carroll's claims. He also made controversial statements when shown a photograph of Carroll from the 1990s. Carroll had kept the dress she claimed to have worn during the alleged assault and asked for Trump's DNA to compare to potential traces found on the garment. However, Trump resisted providing a DNA sample for years. While DNA evidence was not ultimately used to confirm or refute Carroll's allegations, Trump's refusal to provide a sample may have raised suspicions with the jury. The jury had to decide whether Trump's statements calling Carroll's accusation a hoax and denying it were defamatory. To succeed, Carroll needed to show the statements were false. The statements caused her harm. Trump acted with actual malice, meaning he either knew the statements were false or showed reckless disregard for the truth. The jury found that Trump's public denials were defamatory, implying that they believed his denials were knowingly false or made with reckless disregard for the truth. While Carroll alleged rape, the jury did not find that she had proven Trump raped her under the specific legal definition of rape, which involves non-consensual penetration with a sexual organ. However, the jury did find that Trump had sexually abused her, which encompasses non-consensual sexual contact or force. This finding allowed them to award damages for sexual abuse, even if they did not conclude rape had occurred. The jury awarded $5 million in damages, $2 million for sexual abuse. This covered both the actual harm Carroll suffered from the assault and the emotional distress it caused. $3 million for defamation. This was awarded because the jury found that Trump's defamatory statements caused Carroll reputational harm and emotional distress. A large part of the jury's decision depended on their perception of Carroll's credibility as a witness. Her consistency, corroborating evidence from her friends, and the passage of time may have bolstered her case, as did the fact that she came forward in the wake of the Hashmeta movement, aligning her accusations with a broader cultural shift in the way society views allegations of sexual misconduct. Trump's credibility may have been damaged by several factors. His decision not to testify in person, his contradictory statements in the deposition, and his past behavior toward women, including the infamous Access Hollywood tape.
We have some nice furniture. I took out furniture. I moved in her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
May have contributed to the jury's conclusion that Carroll's allegations were more likely to be true. Trump's behavior during the case, including his aggressive denials and attempts to delay the proceedings, likely influenced the jury. His public comments, his refusal to provide DNA evidence, and his repeated insults towards Carroll were likely seen as inconsistent with someone confident in their innocence. The court's decision in favor of E. Jane Carroll was largely based on her compelling testimony and the corroboration from witnesses. The lower standard of proof in civil cases, Trump's refusal to provide DNA evidence, not testifying personally, and inconsistent public statements. The jury finding that Trump's denials were defamatory and his conduct constituted sexual abuse rather than rape. Ultimately, this case hinged on the credibility of both parties, with the jury finding Carroll's account more believable under civil standards. The verdict marked a significant legal and social outcome in holding a high-profile figure like Trump accountable for alleged past conduct.